Hello Aces, we're here again with the third episode of Interesting Maneuvers. Today we're going to be talking about the G1A Mist Hunter from Wave 8. So what are your thoughts, gentlemen?
I really like this ship. I think this is a really strong release for Scum. I think both of the name pilots are really good, and I like both of the generics. I think the Ruthless Freelancer is well costed for a cheap generic ship that you can just put one or two upgrades on and have that running around. The Gan Finesman is really good with pilot skill 5. I like that. EPT. I think it's a really strong ship.
And the Ruthless Freelancer is pilot skill 3, which is great. Gets you above Predator threshold, gets you above swarm lists. So I think that's a strong nameless pilot.
I think this ship is exactly what Scum needed, and a lot of times it's just called the Scum B-Wing, and it's basically what it is, but it's exactly what Scum needed.
Well, yeah, until the Mist Hunter came out, Scum did not have a heavy fighter. They had a light fighter, which was not very good, another light fighter in the Z95, and then the Kurzax fighter, which is some weird hybrid of a light fighter and a heavy fighter, but with none of the benefits of either. It's a mediocre medium fighter.
I mean, this is not a discussion of the Kurzax fighter, but I think the Kurzax is a perfectly fine medium fighter. It does the job it needs to do. I think this is an excellent heavy fighter, but I actually think it's slightly better than the B-Wing in the sense, it's faster, which is good, and it comes with an evade native. I think that's a really strong action to be for a weak for a ship with low agility dice to be able to take evade. I think is huge.
Yeah,
especially with a sensor slot. I mean, you can get his dice modifications through fire control, something like that, and still afford to be able to evade every turn.
I think this ship will live longer than a B-Wing might otherwise, and I think that's really great. And I think with someone like Zuckuss, that's a good thing to have, because Zuckuss is awesome.
Yeah, so
Zuckuss's ability might be one of the strongest pilot abilities in the game.
Yep.
In my opinion, the extra attack die is amazing, pretty much at any cost. His extra attack die comes at the low cost of giving your opponent an extra defense die, which to some might seem a little scary, but I can think of no instance where that's really a negative, unless if you're firing at a buttoned up Phantom.
Well, I can think of a ton of circumstances where it might be not a great decision, but the fact that you have the choice is what makes that an acceptable power.
Yep.
Now you can choose. Sure, if he's got an evade and a focus, he's a center fell. Yeah, I'm not giving him an extra dice at range 3. I'm not going to do that. That's a foolish decision. But if I'm shooting at range 1, even at center fell, and he has no tokens, then that's a really easy decision to make.
Oh yeah.
So I think the fact that you get to choose is huge. I mean, Talonbane Cobra is almost exclusively taken because of that 5 dice range 1 shot. Zuckuss does the same thing without having to deal with the dies instantly problem of Talonbane.
That is the best. And he has a less dumb name.
Depending on who you're talking to.
It's fair.
Zuckuss is not exactly the most, respectable name.
Yeah, that's true.
I really like Zuckuss. I want to try him out with the Hotshot Blaster with his illicit. I think getting into range 1 of something, just pounding 5 dice at it, and then being able to do a 1 forward and just taking shots out of his butt, range 1 again.
Yeah, no, that's strong. I didn't even think about that.
No, that's ridiculous.
And I think that in general, the Mist Hunter combines really well with the Outlaw Tech upgrade.
Oh yes,
for a crew, I think that's
super strong.
Really strong, really easy combo.
Strong. I've been trying around with the Mist Hunter a little bit on a Zuckuss build. I've been using Outlaw Tech. Haven't had it trigger too often. I think with its dial and the fact that it can barrel roll with the Mist Hunter title, and you can control your opponent's movements a little bit with the tractor beam, I haven't had to do a lot of red maneuvers. But the few times I've had, it's huge. And I don't necessarily think there's a better crew slot for it. Maybe Tactician.
I think that if you're taking the Mist Hunter title, there are definitely going to be other options out there for you. But if you're not taking the Mist Hunter title, I think that the red becomes much more common, much more prevalent, because you don't have that barrel roll. So I think in that case it does. And I think you can have sort of like an alternating turn PTL by just taking advanced sensors, and then taking your action, and then doing a red maneuver.
Yep.
And getting a focus. It's a cheap. Well, not cheap, but it's an alternate PTL. I think it's pretty.
And it also frees up your EPT slot if you want to go that route. No, I think it's a very strong ship. It's got a fantastic upgrade set with the crew and the sensor.
Mm-hmm. And I really like Forlom's ability.
Forlom's super strong too.
The ability to assign another stress token, I think that's
especially with Outlaw Tech. I think Outlaw Tech definitely goes on Forlom.
Yeah,
the hard call.
Or I mean, I like that both of them work well together. Like Zuckuss with Forlom crew, Forlom with Zuckuss crew.
Yep.
Again, I think the Zuckuss crew is super strong. The ability, I think people sometimes look at the any number of stress to choose an equal number of defense dice,
and automatically assume that's
you're going to take
5.
Well, or that you have to take the most. Like if somebody rolled 3 evades, you have to take 3 stress and make him re-roll all 3. You don't. You can take 1 stress and make him re-roll 1 of those to get a damage through, which is not a horrible idea.
Or to tag on a tractor beam hit.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad use of the ability. You control how much stress you want to take.
Yeah, no, I think both those crews are very strong. I think it might take a little bit of experimenting to find out where they truly belong, but yeah, I think those are both very, very strong crews.
Yeah, I mean, Forlom, people have been talking a lot about Forlom on some of the bigger ships like Bosk, and I definitely think that's a pretty good place for him,
yep.
Because big ships don't care as much about Ion, so.
And then the Mist Hunter title, probably one of the best titles. There's a lot of really good titles out there. I think
I don't think it's one of the best. I think all the titles just in general are good.
But adding a barrel roll to your ship for 1 point, and you have to take the tractor beam. It's like whatever. It's only 1 point,
and the tractor beam is really strong.
Really strong.
The tractor beam can mess with a lot of people's gameplay.
Yeah.
Barrel rolling a Howl Runner out of range 1 of maybe 1 or 2 of the other TIE fighters is huge. Barrel rolling, if you can land a lucky hit on a Fel, barrel rolling Fel into a debris cloud or an asteroid could prevent a shot, depending on.
I think Forlom with Tactician, barrel rolling somebody closer to Forlom, passing off another stress on it,
or boosting them closer to Forlom. Yeah, no, it's strong. I think that's, especially once Imperial Veterans comes out, that's gonna be just
ridiculous.
Baby town frolics of fun.
Yeah, the tractor beam is impressively influential in the course of the game, especially because, I mean, on someone like Zuckuss, right, who has an ability which naturally lends itself to attacking and destroying other ships, you would think that it would almost be a penalty to have a tractor beam and use it. And I think I've seen in the games that you played with it, it's been very influential. It has controlled a lot of the game. I think, people are not ready for it.
It's immensely satisfying putting a pilot skill 9 wedge that you're tied with but have initiative on an asteroid so he can't shoot, or throwing a Miranda Domi or a Y-wing on an asteroid so it can't use its TLT. There's not doing damage is sometimes more beneficial than not receiving damage.
Yeah. Then we've got the new illicit cloaking device. What do you guys think about that?
I think I called that 18 months ago when Wave 6 dropped. Almost verbatim. But I think it's going to be interesting. I want to use it on Talonbane Cobra. I think to keep him protected for those formative turns. And also with his dial being able to boost forward 2 and then turn into position. I think it could be strong.
I think people are worried about the fact that you can lose it. And again, I think that's...
It's a 1 in 8 chance. 2 in 8?
2 in 8.
2 in 8.
So, 1/4 chance.
Yeah.
Because that's our
I don't know.
fraction
I don't know how many eyeballs are on the dial. I just throw them and they
That's
come up
'cause
blanks.
That's because you never roll them.
Yeah, I just roll them. They come up blanks. So I assume there's a 0% chance.
Well, I mean,
Blanks or hits. That's
but
how
I
you
think
roll.
Yeah,
I think that if it were a 2-point upgrade that just said for 1 round action increase your agility by 2 and you can't attack, people would not find that to be a bad upgrade as it, just that. Like, people will be like, oh, that's great. I can use that to increase my agility when I really need to survive, when I really need to live. And this is better than that. It's like, it's a guaranteed cloak for a turn.
Yep.
And potentially more than that. And I think if you look at it as if every turn you get out of that cloak after the first one as just a huge bonus, it becomes a really worthwhile upgrade.
I know it pays for itself in spades. Every turn you don't lose it.
Yeah,
and like I said, even
if you still lose it, you still get to perform the decloak action at the end of the round when you lose it.
Yeah, and it might be a little bit different than a Phantom's cloak. Like I don't think you're in a cloak turn 1.
Yeah,
I think it's jockey into position, cloak, slip past them. If you lose it, that's fine. If you don't lose it, when you then legitimately decloak the next turn, and then when you need to make your breakaway turn, especially with someone like Talonbane Cobra, where you need to be able to disengage, I think that gives him the ability to disengage very, very well. More so than he normally would.
I also like the fact that you don't have to do the decloak in case someone has been really prepared for that, has been counting on you rolling that eyeball, they've set up the arcs where that's just going to put you in a really bad position. You don't have to do it. You've lost the cloak. You do not have to do the decloak action.
Yep.
You can just discard the
token. Yeah. No, that's. I think you make it. I think it's going to be a stronger benefit than a lot of people are going to expect. I think people are accustomed to playing in stuff like Whisper, where they will line up for that decloak turn, so it might turn out in your favor that your cloak falls off.
Yeah.
And you'll know, you know it before you set your dial, which is huge, because I think it would be tragic if it was the other way.
Yeah.
I just think overall it's a strong.
And there aren't a ton of good illicit upgrades out there. And there's a couple. Glitter Stims is great.
Glitter
we all
Stims
love
is
drugs,
good. You just don't let you don't want to. Glitter Stims is a great upgrade. It's like, I got the extra points. Oh, I'm going to take Glitter Stims.
Right.
Well, with the cloaking device, it's like, I want a good, solid upgrade.
Yeah.
They cost the same, and Glitter Stim is not necessarily something you would want to take on something like the
not always.
So it's kind of specific. Like, the Aggressor obviously loves Glitter Stim because it has the 3 attack dice and the 3 defense dice, so it gets the maximum amount of benefit from Glitter Stim. Other ships with similar die loadouts like Glitter Stim a lot, but when you have 1 defense dice or not a lot of attack dice and few defense dice, you're not taking Glitter Stim.
No. It's very similar to kind of how the Rebels have C-3PO, where the more defense dice you have, the worse 3PO is. I think Glitter Stim, the smaller your base stats are, the worse it is. Just in general, I think Glitter Stim edges out Cloaking Device for me in terms of go-to illicit. And again, like Ethan said, it's ship by ship, but I think Glitter Stim can have a bigger impact in a game than a single cloak might.
Yeah.
Especially because you're burning your action, so you're not going to have defense modifiers on those 4 dice.
Unless you're running PTL.
Unless you're running PTL, of course, yeah. But I think there's been enough times where I've Glitter Stimmed even Talonbane Cobra and had him survive a disgusting amount of shots and still put out a huge amount of damage. So I think they're both good. You made the statement earlier of Hotshot Blaster. Hotshot's been one of my favorite early EPTs, especially on someone like Nadru, or like you said with Zuckuss, where you can modify the amount of dice rolled. Definitely a good Arc Dodger killer, because it's surprise guns!
Yeah.
And Dampeners, I think saw a lot of play for a while, and then just kind of disappeared. I still think Dampeners is a really good EPT.
Dampeners is good.
Illicit.
I see them every so often played against me.
Yeah.
I'm not personally sold on them.
I think you sold them a lot on Aggressors, and then Glitter Stim came out, and and Glitter Stim is just obviously a better upgrade for the Aggressor.
Yep.
I don't think it's necessarily better than than Dampeners. I think Dampeners is a fantastic card because Maneuver Shenanigans is really where it's at when it comes to the best upgrades. For...
But, you know, Cloaking Device, I think, is definitely in the top tier of elicits. But I think the elicits, and much like everything in Scum, it's really dependent on what you're putting it on. Like, there's a lot of really good Scum upgrades that are just really bad if you put them on the wrong ship.
Speaking of situational upgrades, what do you guys think about Electronic Baffle?
I don't know. It takes up your sensor slot, which is inherently bad, because that means you're not fire control systeming or advanced sensoring. Yeah,
but it does get rid of... I mean, I hate Stressbot. I hate fighting Stressbot a lot, because there's a lot of control in that. Even if you're not, like... Even if you can't do the whole TLT3 stress in a single turn bull that you used to be able to, I think Electronic Baffle kind of answers that kind of control. And it also true of Ion. I mean, Ion is really annoying. I fought Alyssa with Sam, and that was super annoying. And if I could have gotten rid of those, I may well have.
Well, if you would have gotten rid of those on that particular game, you wouldn't have a TIE fighter left. But,
and I kind of want to jump on to your statement with like the stress bot. I would rather take 2 stress than 4 damage.
Yeah. I
personally,
I think Electronic Baffle, I would probably
You're
use
not
it.
necessarily taking damage.
It's only on Stress and Ion, and if Electronic Baffle worked on Tractor, or on Tractor Beam tokens, whenever you receive one of those, then I'd use it.
I don't think there's enough things that can take a Tractor Beam effectively to make that caveat bounce Electronic Baffle up.
Yeah.
Because I think with Tractor Beams, you need it on a high pilot skill guy, or all of your pilots need to be the same pilot skill or lower than you. Because if your pilot skill 2, like, Cartel Mercenary is firing a Tractor Beam, after your 2 pilot skill 7 or 8 guys have fired, you're wasting a point and that shot. So, but I think... Again, I think it's an interesting upgrade. I think it's going to take some play. I think it could be an interesting way to utilize like an experimental interface or PTL build on something that doesn't necessarily have a lot of greens that are good. But again, it's far and few with ships can take it, and I think the ships that can take it are going to be better off with it with advanced sensors or fire control.
But it will also prevent someone from walking off the board, which has happened, and some of us have even done it to other people, and they have been very annoyed with us.
Yeah.
So
it's really satisfying walking decimators off the board.
Exactly.
Really hard, but really satisfying.
And now, so now you're going to try and walk a ghost off the board, and the ghost could take Electronic Baffle and be like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, if you use it every turn, Electronic Baffle is bad.
Yeah.
Because you're just dealing yourself more and more damage. But if you're using it as a way of, for those critical moments, I think it might be worth it.
I think the Ghost might have a case for it because you have some of the Rebel defensive and like shield regen crew. Because you could definitely throw an R2, D2 crew on the Ghost with the Electronic Baffle and just not care.
Yeah.
Even on maybe regenerating Cornhorn. Being able to PTL, not have that stress, gain that shield back with R5P9, and then keep moving really fast every turn. You lose the fire control for a second shot, but I think that could be strong.
Yeah.
I think it's less of a defensive upgrade and more of like a weird combo offense upgrade. Like I think it's something you want to use on experimental interface turns or PTL turns when you really don't want that stress on you. I think using it offensively, I think
you can also use it to K turn and then get an action because you've cleared the stress
before perform action. I think it's less anti stress bot, anti ion cannon. I think it's more. I have Lebo crew. I'm gonna boost, take 1 ion token, do some action. I'm gonna boost, take a damage to get rid of that second ion token on like an Outrider or something. So I think it's more of an enabler as opposed to preventing your opponent from giving you stress and tokens. So.
And then we've got the new dual card, Adaptability. What do you guys think about that?
I think there's a lot of cases where you're going to want one higher pilot skill. I can think of fewer cases where you're going to want one lower.
Yeah.
But a 0-point EPT, there have been so many times where I've had elite pilots without an EPT, or A-Wings that I could take test pilot on but don't have the points, so I don't. So I think it gives you a thing to do, which is neat.
I think Adaptability is going to be in a lot of lists.
Well, I mean, I think specifically for the pilot skill 8
and 9 guys.
And 9, well, less so for the 9 guys. I think it puts you into the 9 bracket, which is fine, which is really what you wanted to do when you took Veteran Instincts. The fact that it was 10 was more just sort of like a small side bonus than it was. The goal was to just put you in the top bracket of pilot skill. This does that for free. That's huge.
So are we going to see more, like with what you're saying, are we going to see more Poe Veteran Instincts at 100 points, or are we going to see Poe with Adaptability for +1 at 99 points going for Initiative?
I mean, that's effectively the same thing, except you have you have more control, I think.
It depends on your... I think in that instance it depends on specifically why you're getting him the higher pilot skill. If it's to specifically beat like Vader, Fel, Zuckuss Dengar, any of the pilot skill 9s to specifically beat, I don't think you'll see adaptability in that. If it's to tie and have him be edged over the other 8s, then yeah. I think it depends on the player.
I mean, but you could see like Cornhorn and Poe. Now they both take adaptability. Now they're both 9s. That's a net 2 point. I mean, it increases the more you see. If it's just Poe, then yeah, maybe that 1 point doesn't mean a lot. But if you're trying to build a pilot skill 9 fleet, that's way easier to do.
Oh yeah.
And now you can save yourself like 3 points, and that's huge. And that could really give you a serious initiative bid. Or upgrades on other things that you might want.
Yeah, no, I think it's a solid card. It's unique. I hope to see more dual cards.
Yeah.
I think the thing that excites me most about it is the promise that we'll see more of it.
Yeah.
So that could be exciting. I could see some interesting attack defense dual card where I think it was kind of something you brought up where you choose either to raise your attack value and lower your
like an
agility.
Expose and a reverse expose.
Yeah. Although that could be might be too strong. It would have to cost points, but I think it could be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to see another 0 cost dual card, but just the idea that we can have those dual cards and the fact that you can switch them between games gives you a lot more like tweaking controllability. Which
I could see that expose, anti-expose if it was discard. Maybe it costs a point. You choose a side, either as expose or add an agility, and then just as being in the combat phase, you can pitch it. I think that could be a thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
For a 0 cost, yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be a thing. Or maybe 1 point, something cheap. I think that could be something that we might see. So.
Alright, well I think that about covers it.
Did we talk about the dial? A little bit.
I think the dial's awesome.
The dial, it's
very good.
It's a better B-Wing.
Yeah.
It's slightly faster. The larger K turn, I think, is better.
Yeah.
I really like the B-Wing's 2K. It gets into some trouble in the parking lot and against big ships, so I think having the longer one's nice. Plus,
but
on
you
the
have
turn
more now, also, because you've got the 3, you've
and
got the 4,
yeah.
and it's you are faster, and you have better. I think you have better greens. Like having the 3 forward green.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
that's huge.
really
That's big.
important.
That's
When you
big.
need to get away, that's
Or when you K-turn and need to go back into the fight.
also true.
Yeah, I just see the loss of the 3 turns is not that huge for me.
The B-Wing doesn't have 3 turns.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it doesn't. It just has
The banks.
the banks,
Yeah.
which are not red,
Yeah.
right?
The B-Wing's banks are.
There, okay.
Yes. Yes.
It's been a while since I've
Played a
seen
lot of
those.
B-Wings. B-Wings banks are red. This much I know.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for checking out this episode. If you got some comments on the new ships, leave them below. And don't forget to check out the channel for all of our episodes on the new wave. Also, don't forget to subscribe for all of our new X-Wing videos that we're going to be putting out. Thanks for watching.
Take care, y'all.
I forget what we're calling this thing.
Interesting maneuvers.